Welcome back, everyone, to the late night review. Really, really late, the wolfing hour. And I want to talk tonight about one of my favorite werewolf movies of all time, if not my favorite. Sometimes I go back and forth between a few. This one is usually my number one or fighting for the number two spot normally. And I'm talking about an American Werewolf in London, and with Griffin Dunn and David Naughton. This is directed by John Landis, and this is an awesome werewolf movie. I grew up watching this. I got a lot of nostalgia for it. I remember seeing it as a very young kid. I was born in 1977. I saw this on videotape, I believe. And it was either videotape or it was being played on HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, one of the pay channels that my parents had when I was a kid. And it's a fun movie. It's very well done, I think. I like the story. And not only do I have a lot of nostalgia for it, even if it came out later, I'd really, really like it. I like the music, and it has comedy in it. The comedy doesn't land for everybody, but I actually like probably 80% of the comedy. I think some of the awkwardness later on that takes place between the two police, the two detectives, I didn't really think was that funny. But I thought when Jack and David were on the road talking, I thought that was funny. And some of the other scenes, probably it's maybe 75-80% of the comedy in here actually worked for me. And some of the dark humor, because my humor is a little dark. But I like the movie. I like the characters, David Naughton and Griffin Dunn. Griffin Dunn was in one of my favorite movies, a very, I think, underrated Martin Scorsese movie called After Hours, which I enjoy. I like After Hours quite a bit, and I think Martin Scorsese does a cameo. He does a cameo too in his own movie After Hours. I think it's in the nightclub, and he had his normal beard, and he had like a spotlight shining it around in the nightclub, if I remember right. And it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but I think it's a good Martin Scorsese movie. I like the look, the atmosphere, late at night. I always like late nights, and I like that movie, After Hours. I think it's underrated. But this American Werewolf in London is one of my very favorite werewolf movies of all time. It might be my number one. It was for a while. The Howling is one my uncle showed me. We had hamburgers, and I saw it with him when I was a kid. The Howling, I have a ton of nostalgia for that. I know a lot of people like it. A lot of people can, I've heard people criticize it too, and I can understand it, but I grew up with it. I have nostalgia for it. Great special effects. I think the transformation in American Werewolf in London of the werewolf from the human character to the werewolf, along with the one in the Howling, there's multiple. I think they had great special effects. I think the special effects in transformation, in terms of the werewolf transformation in An American Werewolf in London and The Howling, are the best I've ever seen in any werewolf movie. And I've seen quite a few werewolf movies. American Werewolf in London is in my top two or three for sure. The Howling, I like that. Silver Bullet, I always like that. And Bad Moon. Bad Moon is a very good werewolf movie that a lot of people haven't heard of. And it was directed by Eric Red, and he was the writer of The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer. That's a good movie and definitely worth checking out. And American Werewolf in London start off with Jack and David on the trail, taking a 3 month or 3 months, I think is 5 months, something like that in Europe. They're taking a trip to see Wales first, Britain, England, I should say. I think it was either filmed in Wales or England. I'm not sure where it was really filmed, but it was in that area. American Werewolf in London, obviously. And then they were supposed to go to Italy, but they never made it because of the tragedy that took place. A werewolf shows up and takes out Jack. And the story pretty much starts with them walking on the trail, hearing the werewolf. It's a full moon. They go to the bar first, the Slaughtered Lamb. And some jokes are told, which are kind of funny. And I just enjoy this movie. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. And there's quite a few scenes that stand out to me. There's a scene when David, played by David Naughton, he's in the hospital, and Jack shows up all mangled, and he says, "Can I have a piece of toast?" I thought that was funny. And there's a scene that I really like when David, he sees Jack, and Jack keeps coming back to him to warn him that he's going to turn into a wolf. And he tries to tell David, you should kill yourself before you turn into the wolf and murder people, is basically his message. But he comes, and this is after already the relationship kind of developed between David and the nurse, and Nurse Price, and they are at home at night after they made love, and then David comes out to use the bathroom, and he's checking the mirror. He opens it and closes it, I believe, and then he sees the mirror and Jack's behind him and he screams. I like that whole dialogue when they talk. David goes out to the living room with Jack, and Jack looks in the door. He says, "A nurse, huh?" And, they have their little conversation. But that whole conversation, that dialogue on the couch with the melody in the background, the kind of subtle music, and how Jack is sitting there on the couch. He's green, he's decaying. And that whole scene, the way the lighting is, the way they talk, the way the music is, I think is really well done and pretty artistic. There's something about that scene. There's something subtle and pleasant about it, even though the subject matter is serious, a little creepy and scary. The way the makeup is done is so great, just absolutely fantastic. And that scene kind of stands out to me. Not much happens there, but I like the music in the background, the dialogue. I think that it's pretty dramatic, and then the acting is good. By the way, I mentioned those 4 werewolf movies that I like, and I ad lib all my videos, so I'm kind of I have no script. Usually, almost all my video. Well, I never had a script for any of my videos, so I'm kind of speaking from the heart, speaking from the mind, and just kind of winging it on most of my videos. I'm a casual YouTuber, but I mentioned American Werewolf in London, Silver Bullet, The Howling, and then Bad Moon is a movie that is really good. The guy who plays a werewolf, and Mariel Hemingway is in that movie too, plays the sister of the werewolf, and the werewolf is played by Michael Parr. He played Eddie and the Cruisers, part 1 and 2. I actually like both of the movies, but I think part 2 is better than part 1. Eddie Lives is the one I like the best, but that was a really good movie. And the reason I mention those is because those are all great movies. American Werewolf in London is usually my number 1 or 2. Uh, Curse of the Werewolf with Oliver Reed, an old movie, is one I like too. And the original, of course, with Lon Chaney Jr. And I think Bela Lugosi played a part in there too, as a gypsy in there. And that was really a fun movie. I mean, it's a classic. It's pretty much the original, the one that started it all, going way back. And I think American Werewolf in London not only is as good as that, I like it better. It's like I said, it's my number 1 or 2 werewolf movie of all time. And maybe I'll rank the werewolf movies one day, because I tell you, The Howling sometimes is my number 1. Silver Bullet is close to being 2 or 3. And I think that Bad Moon is sometimes my favorite. It just depends on my mood. It's one that a lot of people haven't heard of. Bad Moon. Check it out if you like werewolf movies. I think the story in this movie, American Werewolf in London, is really good. I like the interaction between Jack and David. I think the beginning is one of the best parts of the whole movie. I actually wish maybe they should have drawn it out a little bit more with Jack and David, because I really liked when they were together. But besides that, the movie does work for me. I appreciate it. I like it. Most people have seen it. I don't really have a problem with the ending. I just think it's a fun movie. It's one that I was always willing to just throw on and watch almost any time. The rewatchability is pretty high for me. And plus, when I like the characters in the movie, when I like the actors like Griffin Dunn and David Naughton, when I like the characters in the movie, it just goes way up. If I don't like the actors or the characters, it goes way down for me, and it depends on if I'm irritated or not. But no, this movie, none of it really irritates me. None of the characters in here do. I think a little bit of the bumbling by one of the cops in the movie it wasn't necessary. I thought it was kind of out of place and awkward. But besides that, most of the humor works for me. I think it's a fun movie. It's a product of its time. but I have a lot of nostalgia for it. There's certain scenes in here that, you know, maybe they could have done without, but for all in all, for the most part, it really works for me. I enjoy this movie. Highly recommend that you watch it if you like werewolf movies and horror movies. And it's a good movie to watch around Halloween. And this is the season, you know, we're getting closer and closer to Halloween. So I highly recommend An American Werewolf in London. I think it's a very, very good horror movie. And this has been the Late Night Review. Please like and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button so you get a notification on your device whenever hit this. If you subscribe, the thumbs up helps me. It really does. So please hit the thumbs up button. But if you subscribe, you'll get a notification on a device that a new video has come out. And then you can see a new video. And please share this video with other people so they could see this type of content. And take care, everybody, and watch out for the wolf, and have a good night.